Very good evening to everyone and welcome to Stock Durbar with Team William O'Neill India. I hope my voice is loud and clear and you can see the disclaimer side that the registration granted by the SEBI, the membership of BASL and the certification from NISM is no way guarantee performance of the intermediary or provide any assurance of return to investors, and the investment in the security markets are subjected to market risks. So you should read all the related documents carefully whenever you are investing. Okay, so let's start with today's session. Oh, first we are not taking questions. So first, for some, let's say for 8-10 minutes, I will discuss some of the Nifty setup as well as the important, sectorial setup. So if we start with the Nifty setup over here, so last 3-4 sessions have been a bit tough, specifically last 3 sessions. So Monday, Nifty made a high above 18,450 and the closing was also very decent. I think somewhere around 18,400, 18,398 exactly closing था. That was good. And I think that time during the pre-bell, we might have discussed that एक चीज जो अच्छा नहीं लगा, that part was the volume. So the volume was not above average when the Nifty, went this portion. Especially I'm talking about this. यहाँ पे you can see these 3-4 sessions. Okay, the volume was good. It was above average. It was on the high. The closing was good. But now if you see the volume, especially in the May, after this one, the volume was not that great. And but the good part is the rally was not that huge. Like it was not like some 400, 500, 600 points rally in the lower volume. So there is a good consolidation. And now after hitting that high of 450 in this week only, Nifty has now today tested 18,100 as well. So it's a decent pullback. No worries. Till the time Nifty is above the 21 DMA. So the green line over here, somewhere around 18,050 is the level, is the 21 DMA. Okay. And so if we are holding about 21 DMA, then that's good. So whenever such kind of rallies are getting extended and you find support near 21 DMA, rebound from there, that is an ideal situation. Because you don't want to just run away. Runaway things are not ideally good. So the fall can be very sharp after the runaway things. But if we go like this, so here also if you see, after a good rally, there was some pullback. 200 DMA के around फिर से support लेके फिर से यहाँ पे भागा market, and now again it is trying to take support near 21 DMA. So this pink line over here is the short-term moving average 10 EMA, and since the March 31st gap down, gap up, sorry, opening, we have not seen this level breaching. Yesterday it breached the 10 EMA, but till the time we are about 21 EMA, that is 18,000, 18,050 zone. No worries. On the flip side, we want a rebound from that level, and Nifty again getting a follow through day, because it's been long we have not got a follow through day. But what's the good part is the macros are a bit stabilizing. The inflation का pressure था वो domestically थोड़ा कम हो गया है. Even in the global market also the inflation pressure have started to ease, and there are expectations that the US might not go for, the Fed might not go for a rate hike in the June meeting. Okay, RBI has already taken a pause, and there was some issue related to this debt crisis in USA, and government will default. But no, that is very simple thing. Actually, it's very complicated, but broadly, it's very simple that they have some rules that, okay, we will not cross this certain level of debt, the government debt, and their parliament, their Congress, their Senate decide those things. But if you see the current level, it is very close to the ceiling of that debt level. But now it's in the hand of their government. If the government decides that, okay, we will raise the ceiling of the debt, they won't default, right? And there are low chances that the government might allow the things to get default, and especially when you are talking about the US, because that will have a lot of ripple effect. The dollar will go crashing. The ratings that the US government, the top-notch rating in the world that they are getting, they might get disturbed a bit. But yeah, so overall there are chances that that thing might not happen, but there was probability of that happening, and that made market a bit nervous. So if you are always looking for some reason that, okay, how to make this market nervous, then that was one of the reason. But yesterday, if you saw that there was a strong rally, more than 1% gain in all the key indexes in the US, and that was again due to some news flow that the government is thinking that they will not allow to get the government default, and they might consider to raise the debt ceiling. So that's some macro updates, the major one over there. Otherwise, if you look at the result season, so results are doing pretty well. I think 70-80% of the results are doing good as far as the Nifty is concerned. Even today, the SBI result was a decent, like it was beat on the NII as well as the profitability front. But yeah, some comments related to credit growth moderating was coming from the chairman, or you can say the top management of the SBI. Overall, also the recent result season has been good. The top auto manufacturer, OEM Tata Motor, they delivered a very good results, right? So the recent result season has been decent one. And if you can see, Nifty is 3 to 4% below its all-time high. But if you see Nifty Bank, it almost touched its all-time high. So it was 44151, the all-time high was, and Nifty touched 151.70. So it's just a 10 paisa thing. But yes, the high that the Bank Nifty made a fresh high, or you can say it touched a fresh high, and now it is, since last 2 days, a little bit consolidating or getting lower. But the problem over here is, see, this is the problem that I was discussing. Yeah, here the volume was lower, but now when it is it corrected for 2-3 session, today's candle is not over here. The volume is a bit higher, but here also again, the most important level to look for in Bank Nifty is 21 DMA, that is 43,161. So you can say 4,300 to 43,000 to 43,200. This is the broader level you need to look for in the Bank Nifty. And today also, in fact, the Nifty was a bit weak, but the closing in the Bank Nifty was in the green. It closed above 43,750. So there is a lot of strength in the banking index, and this is one of the leading index, guys. So bank is one of the leading index. The overall result has been good. The asset quality has been good. The margins are improving, and not only the Nifty bank, but if you look at the Nifty auto index, that is also a fresh all-time high. So there was a strong rally. I think in this rally, when the Nifty rallied from March low, I think one of the big winner was the Nifty auto index. So it crossed 14,000 level briefly on Monday, and that's really strong. So over here it is almost 3% above its 21 DMA. So it's doing comfortably well. Not only the auto index, but again, if you come to the FMCG, it is also trading at an all-time high. So sectorial front, no worries. Some of the leading sectors, you can say, the bank, autos, FMCG, and others. If you look at IT, yes, it is still a problem. IT is not able to reclaim 50 DMA. So we had discussed this last time also when we met in the stock Durbar. At that time, the point of discussion was the 21 DMA. So it was trading very close to its 21 DMA, but now the falling 50 DMA. Agar 50 DMA red line up dekho, then that is falling. So we are seeing a falling 50 DMA, and IT index is not able to reclaim that level. So I think this has a decent weightage in Nifty 50. So you want a support from the IT. If the big IT stocks start to perform well, then that might be a very much positive for the broader index, broader market as well. But let's see. I think most of the indexes are doing well except the IT one. So now if you look at Nifty Pharma, here there is some trouble, but it is moving sideways. There is no much losses as far as from the Nifty Pharma is concerned. So from in the March April rally, Pharma did really well. It rebounded from the lows, but I think in the May it is not able to continue the rally the way the Nifty or the Bank Nifty or the other indexes FMCG and auto has done, but it is moving sideways. Now, if you see the Realty index, yes, this has made a new high. I think a 52-week high over here. So on the Monday, no, it made it on. Yes, it made it on Monday only, and Tuesday also. There was some follow-up buying, but again there was some selling pressure over here. So the numbers have been good for the many of the stocks as far as the realty sector is concerned. And I think the way the raw material prices are getting moderated, so that is helping this sector as a whole. But yeah, the number has been good. The bookings have been good. The luxurious flat. So I think luxury market, not only the realty, but everywhere is doing really well. You might have recently heard about that Louis Vuitton thing. Okay, in the Europe, the US, and the China reopening is playing a lot of part. So the luxurious thing, even in India. So the last week as a team, we were having discussion about that watches, ethos. The numbers of selling, the sell is very good for the company. The luxurious watches, the high-end watches are performing really well. I think most of the business is doing well for them. So it's a trend change, guys. So lot is coming up in the luxurious thing. Even the hotels, you can see the average revenues for per rooms are increasing, margins are increasing. The top quality rooms in every big hotels, in the big brands, are getting a very good response. So the cycle has been shifting to the luxury thing, and even in the reality, some of the high value flats have been in a very good demand. So let's now go to your questions. We have discussed few sectors and the Nifty. So in meanwhile, if any sector comes up during the discussion, we will try to discuss it. Otherwise, so in the room we have my colleague Vakar and Rajshekhar. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. And please do not keep repeating the questions. That will create a lot of chunk in the box, because this is a live session and we need to scroll down to get the questions. So please post it once only. We will try to answer as many as possible. And yeah, just one thing. I want to discuss this one also, because when we are discussing about the Nifties and the other sectors, there has been a lot of good momentum in the broader market. So छोटे stocks है, the value picks, the growth ones, everything is moving as far as the broader market is concerned. And we are just discussing about this mid-cap index. So mid-cap index has hit a fresh new high. So after consolidating for a long time, it has made a fresh 52-week high. And even if you on the weekly front, if you see, the moment has been very, very good. The setup looks very fine for the mid-cap index as well. But now broadly, everything depends on that 21 DMA level and how market sustains the next week. So that will give a lot of good direction.
Thanks, Abhishek. Rajshekhar here. Am I audible?
Yes, Raj.
Yeah, I'll take few queries now. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be taking few stock-specific queries. I'll start with Sunflag. Sunflag, as you can see here, it is our model portfolio stock. It is currently trading in its ideal buy range, which is a blue zone. Uh, Recently, we have added it to our model portfolio last week, and it has been consolidating, and it is moving in the ideal buy range itself. It is not able to find the required momentum to take the stock forward. Ratings wise, the stock is looking very good. You can see the ratings. EPS of 94 indicates a very strong fundamental character of the company. In the last 3 quarters, bottom left, if you see, the stock has reported very good set of numbers. EPS and sales have grown, uh, especially EPS has grown almost 40-50%, and especially and sales have also grown an average of 30% year-on-year growth, which is very consistent and which is very paramount if you look at on canceling methodology. One of the foremost parameter is growing EPS and growing sales, which we look into. And moving on to the technical parameters here, price strength of 89 and buyer demand, which is A by D rating of A minus, are very strong technical ratings. Fundamentally, we have talked about the strength of the company, and the stock hitting blue dots, which is highlighted in the chart here. You can see that is a very positive sign on the technical front. And Another key parameter which we look is number of funds. Currently, the stock has 35 funds which are invested into the stock, and in the last recent quarter, around 25% growth has been seen in this particular parameter. So overall, both on technical and fundamental parameters, the stock was placed very good, and it is also currently also is looking very good. That is the reason we have added to portfolio. And if you are considering for taking fresh positions, you can definitely consider this stock for addition because the stock is still trading in its ideal buy range. And depending on the price volume action, we'll continue to hold it. And if there is any weakness, we'll keenly watch it. And depending on the stop loss levels which we put and which will be communicated to our followers also, depending on those levels, we'll exit the stock if the stop loss levels are hit. Next is already there are lots of queries. Maruti and Tata Elxsi. Maruti currently has been trading in a very long consolidation, that is cup base pattern. Currently, it is forming right side of the base pattern, but the stock has been consolidating for a long period. Its moving averages have also converged together because of the long consolidation the stock had. Fundamentally, everyone knows the strength of this company. It's a leading four-wheeler in India. So there is no doubt about the company's growth prospects. India is still a very under-penetrated market when it comes to four-wheelers, and the growth is visible both in urban and rural areas. So the company is placed very well in this particular point. The long-term trajectory is very good, but currently, if you see the short-term prospects, technicals are not pointing very good because of the long consolidation. The stock had price strength has come down to 56 in the. If you compare with the other stocks, the stock most of the other stocks have done very good in the recent 3 to 4 months, but this stock has moved sideways. That is the reason its RS is at 56, which is poor. AYD rating is looking good, but especially more weightage is given to RS rating, but that is on the lower side. On the number of funds wise, also the stock has a very high number of funds invested in the stock because of a strong, large market cap the stock has. But in the last quarter, there is a decline in the number of funds. So that is also not a positive sign for the stock. So ideally, the stock is not a very good prospect for the addition at the current moment. If the stock breaks out from this base pattern and if the RS rating improves, then we might consider we can consider for addition. But until then, it's a wait and watch for this stock. And if you are holding this stock in your portfolio, you can keep stop loss levels depending on your buy price. Small moving average, that is shortest moving average 21 DMA is another 2% from here. 50 DMA is another 5% from here. So you can track those two levels to keep stop loss. Next is Tata Elxsi. The stock, if you clearly you can see it is in a downward trajectory. If you go by only EPS rank, this is a perfect example. That is just don't go by the EPS rank, but because companies report their quarterly earnings once in a quarter, and EPS rank is determined by those numbers. You can see the company was able to generate good set of growth both in sales and EPS. That is the reason the stock has a good EPS strength of 94. But technically, the stock is beaten and technical parameters have worsened because the stock has been underperforming. The stock has made it top around August area, and from there it has been in a downtrend. You can see it has fallen nearly 35% from the highs in August. Uh, During the process, it has breached its 50 and 200 DMAs as well. Recently, you can see the stock reclaimed 50 and 100 DMAs, but The black line, which is 200 DMA, acting as a perfect resistance for the stock. So definitely, it's not a positive sign. If you are holding the stock, it's better to avoid stocks like these in your portfolio, because your capital will be at risk if you are continue to hold stocks which are reaching trading below the moving averages and which are around 30 to 40% off highs. Always stay invested in stocks which are in high momentum on the positive side, or stocks which are trading are holding their moving averages. For a fresh entry, currently we would like to see a consolidation happening and then a very strong breakout happening. Until then, another 3 to 4 months, which might take for the stock to improve their RS rating as well. So until then, it's better to wait for this stock.
Thanks, Raj. Vakaria. Can I take some queries now?
Sure, Vakari.
Yeah. So, Raj, my voice is audible. I mean, there's no problem, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So just going ahead with this Tata Elxsi example only, just for a second, Rushit. I mean, always we talk about late stages breakout failing, and this is one of the perfect example. Last year, when people were all excited about your Tata Elxsi, when it was probably breaking out of third base, fourth base, and I mean, there was this question that I mean, why not considering this stock? But as you can see, this stock did break out from a stage 4-3 base, did power to pivot as well. But after that, you can see the slide. And that is what happens to most stocks which break out post like from a stage 3 base or a later stage like a 5 or 6. And very, very few stocks, maybe like 5% or 10% of the stocks are able to sustain on that momentum and build higher bases like 4, 5, 6, and 7. That is why, I mean, just for a caution is why I wanted to reiterate on this point and take you through that avoid late stage basis that we always tell you about. Thanks, Rushit. The other we can go is again Tata company Titan.
Yeah, which one?
Titan. If you look at it, the stock is forming like rare pattern at the moment. It's a saucer and not the cup, because you can see the depth of the base is not as high or as deep as your cup. So it's a saucer at the moment. It's not even built its handle. On the right hand side of the base, you can see, I mean, apart from a big couple of big Q-bar, there is no much of accumulation. So you cannot say like stock accumulated very well on the right hand side. And plus, even the RS rating was trading on a pretty flattish side. And that's why probably the stock is not able to break out at the moment. And you can see it's not a very positive action. It did try to show some positive action just before breaking out, but has fizzled out at the moment. Uh, Overall, number of fund holding for the stock is kind of stable, slightly improving. Results has also been decent for the stock. I mean, for this quarter result, if we talk about, it's been decent. Even the last quarter result, I mean, the result was pretty decent for the stock. And that's why, I mean, the stock is still trying to break out, but it's unable to break out. I mean, hopefully no one would have been gone into the stock considering the canceling parameters, like the stock didn't break out. But if aggressive buyers would have probably reclaimed the stock when the stock reclaimed its 50 and 200 DMA on above average volume, would probably be sitting on some profits at the moment. So I mean, considering the aggressive mindset that you guys have, like either can keep your 21 DMA if you want to protect your losses, or 50 DMA at the moment, so probably as a stop loss level for this stock. The other that we can look at is Oil India. Thank you. Yeah. So in the last 3 days action for the stock was pretty good, even on the right hand side of the base, on the cup side. action was pretty good for the stock. On the earnings front as well, the stock has been delivering some pretty good set of results, pretty good set of numbers in the last 3 to 4 quarters, and similar can be seen as well. I mean, today's action, it's a little bit dicey for the stock. As you can see, I mean, the volumes was above average, but the stock probably came back into the base and near the lower end of the base as well. So considering that, I mean, and even the length of the handle of the stock, where probably the stock did try to break around the March levels when it was just probably forming just a cup at that time. One during the April as well when it tried to break out from the handle. This is the third or the fourth attempt for the stock to probably break out from this cup with handle base. So I would be a little skeptical. I mean, wait for a proper clean breakout and that too on above average volumes for the stock. Once that happens, probably, I mean, considering the price volume action, apart from your earnings trajectory for the stock. Earnings is definitely there. Outlook is pretty much good for the stock. It's just the price volume action to be supportive for the stock. Once that happens, it breaks out on above average volumes. It can be a good stock to watch out for. The other we can look, Rushad, is Federal Bank. So I mean, the stock is trading near the lower end of the base at the moment. Stage count is what, 2, 3, Rushad? 3, yeah. Three is the stage count at the moment. It was a model portfolio stock, and we did book some good profits in the stock when the stock had broke out from a stage 2 base last time, like double bottom base. So considering that as well, I mean, we like the fundamentals, we like the growth story of the stock, and similarly, you can see the last 3 to 4 quarter results as well has been super good. Fund holding for the stock has been also been improving. But as you can see, the price volume action in the last couple of weeks have not been supportive for the stock. The stock is currently trading below its 50 and 200 DMA at the moment. So the stock to probably come back into your slim lens, come back in our radar as well. It has to probably do a pretty much good into the price volume action as well. And considering the stock is still 12% to pivot, it has some legs to go at the moment. And if that happens, some accumulation happens, your RS line starts moving higher, then later on, considering the growth story, I mean, around the pivot, it can be a good stock to watch out for. But at the moment, the stock is below your all key moving averages. So at the moment, it should be an avoid on all the parameters at the moment.
Thanks, Vakan.
Yeah.
Let's discuss a few others. There's a question on Daawat. So it reported its numbers today itself, and the numbers were really good. So if there was some 75 to 80% growth in the PAT, while the revenue growth was 20%, the margin has improved significantly. The demand is really good. So the company is not only domestically, Daawat is not only famous, but in more than 60 countries, they have been selling their product, and the package rice and the export demand. So the rice 2-3 years के high पे है अभी rice का export India में. So that is pushing this company's profitability because they are getting a really good price in the international market, and that's why their margins are improving and the profitability is improving. So it was a very good set of numbers. 75-80% growth in PAT and around 20% in the revenue. Now, if you look at the technical, so this is what I think we love to discuss, and many a times you have seen, see over here, if you let's consider last 5 sessions. This one, if you can see, the closing was near the day's high, right? The Friday session, and the volume was very high on Friday. Got it? Now on Monday, it just moved in a small range, and there also the volume was high. For the next 2 sessions, that is Tuesday and Wednesday, the stock went lower, right? For 2 sessions, the stock went lower. But look at the volume. The volume was very low when the stock was going low. And today, after the result, there was a strong momentum. high volume, and again the stock closed near the day's high. So this is how you can look at the chart, and that can be really helpful. So in the the chart that you are already invested in some stocks, and this is how you can look at the things, that how the volume are playing, where the closing is. I think that is very important. You want closing to be more or less in the upper half of the day's range. इवन अगर स्टॉक नीचे जाता है कोई बात नहीं, 3% नीचे गया जाता है, स्टॉक ऊपर जाता है नीचे भी आता है. So even if it's going lower, not an issue, it always goes. But you want closing in a good range. Day low pe close is something that you don't want. Broadly, like I'm not telling every day it should happen, but yes, if you see last 30 sessions, then the number of days when the stock went a bit lower, you should mark that it most of the time it should close in the higher range of the day. So the technical setup is good, right? The earnings have been consistent, as I already discussed. So tomorrow you will also see your March earning, because this came today only, and that numbers were really good. Currently, if you see, the stock is forming a stage 3 consolidation base, and it's 14% to pivot. And the base formation is also good. I think during the low of the base formation, the volume had dried up. And again, like if you consider this right side of the base, the volume has started to pick up. So this is something positive setup, but need to give some time. Let it, make through the pivot. And once it break out, that can be in the ideal buy zone. So it needs to move about that 135 around zone, which is still 14% from here. Okay, so next there is query on Electrosteel casting. So yeah, so broadly the rally has been really good over here, right from the level of 31 in at the end of the March. The rally has been really good. It hit around 49 rupees, 50 rupees in the couple of days back, and you can see the RS line is near the new high. Plus, it's a stage 1 base formation. But what I'm not liking about is the earnings. So there has been negative earnings since last 3 sessions, even though sales has been good. So this is some problem. Otherwise, it's in a very good business. So like उनका business DI pipes, DI fittings, जो कि water के related use होता है, ठीक है, iron pipes, उसमें उनका business है, and that is really good. So demand is high for these products. With the Nal Se Jal program, government planning to give water to the every region in the country, even the small places. The initiative that the Modi government has taken since many years. So the demand is robust for the product, but it's like converting into profitability. So once you need to wait for the company to be profitable, able to generate good margins and show some good profit. Otherwise, revenue growth you can see there, but yeah, they are not able to translate it into profit. So even though the technicals, it has broken out from a stage 1 base, but the the EPS is very poor for the stock. There is a question on Chalet hotels. So a clear disclaimer that this is the part of our model portfolio. The fundamentals have been superb. Look at the numbers since last few quarters. It has been excellent. The fund holding has increased. And if you see the full year fund holding, the increase has been very good. The RS is at all-time high with 52-week high with blue dots over here. I think the breakout was also very good. High volume पे breakout हो गया था. And before that, you can see similar to that LT food. So दावत का मैंने example दिया, right? Just before the big move, the stock went down for 2 sessions, right? And look at the volume of the 2 sessions. तो ये pink वाला है ना नीचे, उसका volume देखिए. That went down on a low volume, and then from the next day it started to move and then broke out. So whenever you see such kind of momentum or the moment in the stock, that is what you need to focus on. Otherwise, it was moving sideways during the base formation, and the breakout was very clean. Overall, there is a lot of tailwind for the hotel industry. We have discussed it multiple times. A lot of events are coming up in the India. The travel is increasing, the business travel, the World Cups, the G20s, the increasing margin, the increasing average room rate per night. Everything is in place for the hotel players, and not only Chalet, but there is also a question on Indian hotels. So let me take and then hand it over to Raj. Here also the breakout was from stage 4. That's why we have avoided this one. But yeah, here also the momentum is very good. It is currently trading near its buy zone. It broke out, ऊपर गया था, फिर से थोड़ा 21 DMA green line 21 DMA पे support लेके it's again trying to rebound. So if anyone holding this stock, then 21 DMA can be used as a stop loss level. And on the higher side, you want it to make a new high from here. Otherwise, I think this 21 DMA will be very helpful on the downside. Otherwise, the story remains the same for the hotel industry in India.
Thanks, Rishit. I'll take the few queries now. Gujarat Alkalies. The stock is completely beaten down. You can see it has made a top in August, and from there the stock has been in a clear downtrend. It has breached their key moving averages as well. Ratings are also telling the same. EPS of 25 is a very poor rating. That is mostly because the last 2 quarters, December and September quarter of 2022, the stock has reported declining profits. That is a major reason for poor EPS. On the sales side also, growth has come down from 30-40% to just 4% growth in the December quarter. So definitely a negative factor on the fundamentals front. Technicals have also been telling the same. RS of 33 showing the underperformance of this stock. The stock is currently trading in a very long double bottom base pattern, but the base bottom is not looking ideal. We will normally on ideal cases we will avoid these kind of base patterns which are very wide and loose. You can see the price volume action is not concrete. Sometimes the volumes have been coming on the higher side, and sometimes there is a complete exhaustion of volumes in the December, Jan, February period. If you see, those kind of volumes are not telling us the clear signs of what the stock is what is going to happen to the stock. And on the moving averages front, recently this 50 DMA has been reclaimed, but 200 DMA is not reclaimed yet. So definitely 200 DMA is going to act as a resistance for the stock going forward. And that level is reclaimed, then we might expect some positive momentum on the higher side. But there is a large overhead supply for the stock around 800, 900 levels. So stock reclaiming those levels and finding momentum on the positive side, the current market is not on the higher, is not going to happen very quickly. The March quarter numbers are not out yet for the company. If the March quarter numbers come out very strong, definitely we might see good momentum. But until then, it's a stock to avoid. And if you have this stock in your portfolio, you can try to exit the stock and look out for stocks which are placed well at the current momentum at the current moment, and which are in very good momentum on the higher side. Next is Indus Tower. This is also similar Indus Tower. If you look at the chart, the stock has been in the downtrend. Normally, we avoid these kind of stocks added to portfolio. 200 EMA, which is a black line, is a very clear resistance for the stock. Ratings wise, it is not looking good. So technical and fundamental ratings are very poor. So definitely a clear stock to avoid at the current moment. And the stock is also not forming any base pattern at the current moment. It's better to avoid these kind of stocks which are trading below their moving averages. Next is Triveni Turbine.
Which one, Raj?
Triveni Turbine. Disclaimer is this is our model portfolio stock. We are still continuing to hold the stock in our portfolio. The stock has done good. It has given 10% of return from addition. It has broken out from its stage to complete the handle, and even though there is volatile actions in the stock, but the overall trend, if you look at, is on the higher side, which is a positive thing. Most of the parameters were looking very good. That is the reason we have added two more to our portfolio, starting with EPS of 75. Fair enough. And technicals are outperforming. If you see RS of 91 by a demand of A minus are indicating a top class stock on the technical front. Currently, the stock is trading above its ideal buy range, so it is not advisable to take a fresh entry in this particular screen. There is some pullback happening in the stock, and if it comes back to 0 to 5% range from the pivot, then you can consider for the fresh entry. But now a 10% move, or currently it is moving, trading at 12% from the pivot. So mostly it's a extended range if you are considering for a fresh entry. On the stop loss front, we are still continue to hold it. We'll see how the price volume action plays out in the next couple of sessions. Today, stock closed in the lower half, and it closed more than 2% lower. Profits have eroded, but we are still hoping the stock will outperform and find momentum on the positive side. And if this underperformance happens in the next couple of sessions as well, we'll try to see how the moving averages are placed, and depending on the moving averages and the current market price, we'll take an action regarding our exit.
Vakaria, can I take queries from here?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Rushit, can you give me the chart for TVS Motor? Thank you. So the stock currently is just trading above the ideal buy zone, that is the 0 to 5% pivot. I mean, the breakout for the stock was, the first breakout was it. When the re-breakout happened, it was a successful one for the stock. So currently, it's trading near a very short-term moving average of 10 EMA. Overall, all the parameters for the stock remains very good. Parameters for the stock remain very good. So EPS rank, your price rating, your buyer demand. Even as you can see, your RS line is hitting new high. So that is in terms of relative strength, it's a very good thing for the stock. Considering the huge market cap for the stock of 59,000 crores, even for that, the number of fund holding for the stock have been improving very well. One of the good parameters on the fundamental front is your return on equity, that the ROE has been very good. That is at 24%. If we talk about, fresh addition onto the into the stock, not advisable. If it comes back into the buy range near the pivot, can be an ideal scenario. One can see that the 21 DM is pretty close to the pivot. Comes back to the 21 DMA, rest around that 21 DMA, and moves back again on a higher volume, then a good entry can be seen for this stock. Someone who's holding the stock at the moment can, at the breakout, can keep the 7 to 8% loss, or probably the 50 DMA as their stop loss levels. The other we can look at it is IRB Infra. The stock is not in a good shape at the moment, considering your EPS strength of 45 is pretty poor. The stock did break out, on above average volume from a double bottom base, but post that, as you can see, the stock has just been falling, and at the moment, even for a re-breakout candidate, it's not an ideal one, as it's 11% down from the pivot, so which is not a good sign. And considering you look at the last 7-8 quarter result, it's been very volatile. The results have been very volatile. You can see the earnings have been growing, but the sales for the stock hasn't been growing, and that is the major thing. The bookings and your pre-bookings for have been it's not been good for the stock, and that is what is hampering the stock. One who probably would have entered at the breakout should have exited when the 7 to 8% stop loss, according to I mean, the Willimoni criteria would have been. So, I mean, and someone who probably would have re-entered around, I mean, an aggressive buyer who would have re-entered at the 50 DMA or the 200 DMA reclaim, I mean, should not have entered because, I mean, the volumes weren't coming in. So, but still, if someone would have entered, should keep your 50 DMA or the 21, considering the stock, let's keep 21 DMA only as a stop loss levels. If someone has entry into this stock probably at lower levels, if I'm saying, and should exit the stock if it reaches the 21. The other we can look at it is Power Mech projects and then Max. So one of the good growth stories, if you look at it, it's 38% from the pivot at the moment. So fresh entry at the moment is not at all advisable. But someone who would have caught it this rally, I mean, one of the few breakouts that have been successful in these time being, and I mean successful to this extent where the stock has rallied nearly 40% after breaking out from the pivot. Your RS lines are still hitting new highs. If someone is holding on to the stock, considering the gain in the stock, I mean partial booking at the probably a breach of 21 DMA at least should happen. The other is Max Healthcare. Again, I mean, considering the last good, I mean, the fourth quarter result for the stock was really good. I mean, bed occupancy plus your sales earnings, everything is really good for the stock. And that's why you can see once the result came in for the stock has gone above the ideal buy zone. The last few days, you can see volumes coming in for the stock, plus your RS line hitting new highs. So overall, on the technical front as well, the stock has been performing very good. Someone who's holding on to the stock can probably exit if your 21 DMA gets breached, considering the market scenario at the moment.
Thanks, Vakar.
Yeah.
So there is some questions related to not stocks, but let's take it, no problem. ECL about the credit loss. That's a new law by the RBI that all the banks have to, start their accounting based on that from this year itself. But there are chances. The recent discussion अभी वही चल रहा है कि उसको थोड़ा push कर दे. So ECL is basically, accounting your, you can say, the credit loss that is based on the loss on the loan in your portfolio that is expected to occur. Okay. So उसकी वजह से क्या होगा? The provisioning will increase. So if you are trying to understand the thing, so the potential future loss, if you can say that, okay, this percent of my loan book is expected to have a potential future losses. Okay. And so you need to inform that to RBI well in upfront and need to have provisioning for them as well. So that's a bit strict step by the RBI, but yes, this will in long term it's always benefit, but yes, short term में थोड़ा impact होगा, especially on the lot of small banks, PSU banks पे भी इसका काफी सारा effect होगा. Because see, इसमें problem क्या है कि जो भी banks, all the banks that are having a relatively lower coverage and capital ratios, and they already having high slippages and credit cost. Slippage is high, credit loss high, then that will impact those banks. And I was seeing you see the results of the PSU bank this time also. So Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, all the management discussion, this was always a point that ECL may how it will happen. So Bank of Baroda was a bit more okay with this thing that okay, we'll be able to, but Canara Bank provided some more provisions. The other PSU banks are also expected to provide a bit higher provisions for the ECL. But let's see if government pushes that back. In fact, the RBI needs to push it back as the discussion is going on. कि एक साल और delay कर दो. Then the banks might get a lot of time to, adjust those things. Now, if we look at the chart of Ujjivan Small Finance Banks, yes, so it gave a breakout on Tuesday. Yes, on Tuesday, the stock broke out from a cup base, but the handle was not formed. And there are chances, the probability that whenever the stock breaks out from a cup base and the market is not very strong, then there are chances of a small handle formation, and that is what is happening over here. But what I don't like about the last two sessions, the volume has been really high and the closing today is at day's low. So something not very constructive. But yeah, overall the result for the bank has been good. You can see the EPS growth of more than 100%. The sales growth is good. The number of fund holding has been stable, no problem over here. Technically, it's also setting up well, but I think this accumulation before last two sessions fall was very, very good on a very high volume. So let's see if it can re-break out. Stage one base is very safe. And the second thing I like about this one is the support. जब बेस बनते टाइम एक 50 या 200 डीएमए पे सपोर्ट लेके वो फिर से भागता है when it rebounds well from the key moving averages while forming a base pattern, that's always good. And you can see RS blue dot at a new high of 86 with a excellent buyer demand of A plus. So the bank is well placed, but you need the re-breakout over here and a higher volume. So next we can take is ITC. The result came out today. The numbers were decent. And yeah, it is trying to find support near its 21 DMA. So 418, 420 level is very close to its 21 DMA. So let's see if it can bounce from here tomorrow. Otherwise, it had formed a stage 2B base. वहां से breakout होके फिर ये ऊपर गया था. And since last few sessions, the price volume action was not that great. If you can see over here, the selling was relatively on the higher volume while the buying was on relatively lower volume. Overall, एक flat सा movement था, sideways movement. So there was no much price action, but yeah, the fluctuations were very high in the volume. So after the result, it is a bit down. Overall margin front, revenue broadly अगर देखो, then the results were decent, no major issues. But this has had a very, very good run. I think it's in 52 weeks, it is 62% off lows. And that is really great. And it is trading near its all-time high, just 3% from its all-time high. So let's see how it reacts after the, I'm not sure when is the management call, need to check it. Maybe it might be today. And so the comments will be important from the management on the growth, on the guidance. So let's see how it reacts tomorrow. But it is just above the ideal buy zone. So ideally in these kind of situation, you want pullback to 50 DMA. Once the stock pulls back to 50 DMA and bounce back on a higher volume, that is the ideal way to go for an alternate entry as according to O'Neill methodology. Wabag, again a disclaimer that this is the part of our portfolio. We are having some decent gains. So this was added on breakout on April 17th. And from there, the stock has done really well. Over here, the fundamentals are decent. The RS rating is at a fresh high. So no worries about that. Even this is in a very good business. The water collection, the treatment, the supply. So this is the decent business to be in, and the order book is also improving, right? And overall, if you see, it is extended from the ideal buy zone. So those who are holding the stock, 21 DMA, which is 4-5% from here, can be a good level to trail your stop losses. And if it breaches 21 DMA and a higher volume, there might be some more sell off. And 50 DMA is a little deep, 15% है 50 DMA यहाँ से. So I think 21 DMA is better to use in this one. Otherwise, the ratings are decent. The price trend, the buyer demand, the group rank is 10. This is excellent. And the technical setup is also good. Let's see how it goes. And I think results are still due for this quarter. So need to check for that also. Okay, now let's go for Mtar Technologies. So it gave a breakout from a stage 1 consolidation base in the last week of April, on April 28th. The breakout was good, and I think after the breakout, the stock did really well. It was up around 10%. but I'm not sure. Yes, yesterday there was a result of Mtar Technologies. Just need to check. Yeah, I'm not sure, but mostly एक दो दिन में ही था इसका result, and the result was decent. No two ways about that. The EPS growth was somewhere around 57%. The sales growth was 99%. Technically आज का action अगर निकाल दो, reversal आया है आज पूरा. Otherwise, technically it was very strong till yesterday. The closing was at new high, new 52-week high yesterday with a higher volume. But I think today there was a sharp reversal. The stock was down more than 5% on a very high volume. So need to be careful over here. Let it, complete this pullback, the correction phase. Maybe if it lasts. Here also 21 DMA important as a stop loss. For fresh position, let it pull back to 50 DMA या फिर से अगर buy zone में आके rebound होता है, it again comes to buy zone near this pivot level 1800 के around अगर आता है, if it comes to 1800 and again rebounds there on a decent volume, then that is a alternate, or you can say the second buying opportunity. Otherwise, the ratings, the base formation, the business, I think the business which they are in, it's really good, and it caters to a lot of industries and which are very important. So I think we are running out of time. We'll take a couple of queries and then close the session. Let's take Hero Motor. The stock is forming a stage 1 double bottom, and the accumulation on the right side has been good. So that's decent. This time the number were also good. The EPS growth was 32% on a YOY basis, and the sales growth was 13%. So what you need over here is some more momentum for the stock. It is still 6% to pivot. RS thoda weak hai. So once it covers this 6% on a decent volume, right, then RS might also improve from here, and then it will fall into the ideal buy range. Otherwise, the right side of the base accumulation is good. But हाँ, थोड़ा selling में भी volume था यहाँ पे, but you can see the average volume was low at that point of time, and now the average volume is increasing, and the stock is moving higher above that volume. So the setup is good. The ROE is still of 17%. That is very nice for the two-wheeler. Some issues were there in the demand due to the rural pickup नहीं मिल रहा था इसको, the two-wheelers के लिए, but they are changing the strategy. So now they are into the premium bike segment. They are more focusing on, if you might be aware about the industry, थोड़ा आप इधर उधर देखते रहते हो बाइक्स के बारे में, then you might be knowing that Hero is now focused more on the premium bikes. It's focused on the e-bike. Okay, and so they are going for these new drivers, and that is what's helping the N factor. So Can Slim में N है ना, Can Slim का the N factor, that is what helping the Hero MotoCorp to move higher and deliver. But once you see that the rural demand is also picking up, और जो उनके traditional models है two wheelers के, वहाँ पे एक बार अगर demand आना चालू हो गया, then there can be a very good momentum in the stock. If we see the weekly chart, yes, it is still near the low if you compare it with the 2021 or the years before that. It is not able to deliver returns since long if you see on the monthly chart. So let's see how the things goes for the stock. But yes, now the N factors are coming for the stock, and if the rural demand also picks up for the traditional models, then it will be a win-win scenario for the investors as well as the Hero Motor. But as of now, the 6% is important. We can take last one query and then close the session. Ratnamani Metals. Okay, the stock broke out from a stage 1E cup with handle base, and after the numbers, I think the gap up was very strong, and gap up ke baad it closed almost 6-7% higher. But you can see there was reversal on that day itself, and after that reversal, there was some selling for 2-3 sessions, and now it is moving sideways. So if you are already holding this stock, then here also two levels. First is the pivot level, that is 20 to 50. It should hold around that level. Second is the 21 DMA. I think that is very close to pivot, so it's better to keep 21 DMA over here as well. Otherwise, fundamentally, it has been doing really well. If you can see the last few quarters, including the recent ones, the EPS growth as well as the sales growth is very, very good. ROE of 20% is excellent. Plus, the number of fund holdings the stocks have also been increasing. So technically, fundamentally, the setup is good. It's just like if you are holding, look for the 21 DMA. If you want to go for a fresh position, then let this things complete. If it pulls back to 21 DMA, वहां से rebound होता है, so that is when you need to watch out for the fresh positions. Otherwise, currently it is little extended from the pivot 5%. So ideal to wait. Okay, so that's it for today's session, guys. We might have missed few queries, but you can always email us the queries and we will try to answer as quickly as possible. So it's a 1 hour session and number of queries are much higher. So we might have missed a few ones. We are really sorry for that, but you can email us anytime and we will take it. But I hope this was a good learning session for you guys. You got some new ideas of how to look the chart, what are the things you should look at, and you also got ideas about a lot of stocks, stories about the market and the stock as well. Uh, you can send email to our customer ID. Rucha, can you please post the ID, the email ID? It's available on our website, so you can just check it out and send the mail over there. So thank you very much everyone for joining the session. Hope it was useful to you guys. So if you like our sessions, you can always, we are regularly going live these kind of sessions, but it's not a interaction two-way thing because this is a Q&A thing, but generally 8:45 a.m. every morning, we come up with a pre-bell where we discuss about the the global market scenarios, the Indian market setup, how it is expected to open. So you can join that session every day at 8:45 a.m. Tomorrow also, the Friday morning, Rajshekhar will be there at 8:45 to discuss about what happened in US and what is expected in India. So thank you everyone for joining the session.